Driven, Remax Hallmark's real estate show, with your hosts, Johnder, Perez, and Dan Salhany.
Right. Welcome, everybody, to the Driven Real Estate Show by Remax Hallmark. We are your hosts, Johnder, Perez, and
Dan Salhany. Welcome, everybody.
welcome, everybody. And for those of you watching us live on Facebook, our networking groups, as well as for those of you who have joined in on Zoom, thank you so much for joining us. Today, we have a fantastic guest, and feel free to ask your questions, message us, raise your hand up throughout or at the end of this. But we have a fantastic guest today. His name is Samir Kumar from our Bayview Village office. Samir started in real estate actually in 2007, joined Remax in 2009, has since achieved anywhere from Executive Club to 100% Club to Platinum Club, touching upon Chairman's Club. So hopefully 2021 is the Chairman year. Let's welcome Samir Kumar. He's also a Remax Hall of Fame Award recipient. So welcome, Samir.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure being here.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure, actually. So Samir, let's jump right into this and get started. We have a lot of fellow realtors, fellow peers watching you. And we just want to jump in by saying or asking a question, which is, what is your secret to your success in the real estate business?
I've used the little bit of success that I've had, and I would say since 2015, where I sort of changed my business a little bit, was that I started focusing on investors. And generally, people who have money to invest are busy, right? And they don't. My perception was they don't like to get a call. Oh, you know what? This is a great condo in front in Spadina. Would you like to buy one? So I'm just myself. I'm not that kind of shopper who likes to kind of be bothered. Like when I go to my favorite store, just leave me alone. I am going to buy something, and I'll come to you. So the one small strategy I started using was that every time I would sell a place, so if I sold a condo, I would just talk about it, make a video about it, and send that video to everybody. And I would say, so let's say, for example, one of my clients bought a condo, let's say at University Plaza, 140 Simcoe. So I would say, well, one of my guys bought this condo. Why did we buy it? What was the price we paid for it? Why did we pay this price? What sort of investment plan my client has? What sort of a tenant demographic we were trying to attract? Why did we choose this building? Why did we choose this builder? And if you want to, if you're thinking about investing in real estate, give me a shout. That was it. That was the only plan I had. And then after that, I said, well, I'm not selling a condo a week. So what else am I going to talk about? So then I started picking topics about real estate, for example, market updates, or, what kind of a tenant you should attract, or talking about just a building. If there was a building, let's say if I was after, like, for example, if right now I'm after Theatre Park in Toronto, so that's 224 King Street West, great building. So I'll talk about it. And as people, it's funny, as the more deals I did, the more referrals I got, people started sharing my videos. And the unfortunate thing was that my price points were so low, right? So I'm selling these condos like at 300, 350. Back then, if I sold a condo for 600 grand, I was like, whoa, that's a big deal, right? So, but if I was using this strategy, let's say in an area like Bayview Village, wow, who knows? So yeah.
So Samir, I just want to tap in on what you're talking about without going too much in depth about specific properties or whatnot. I know earlier we talked about the fact that video is a huge thing for you in your business. So can you share with us how you approached taking on video? I mean, I see some equipment behind you, and we talked about this earlier, and you laughed and you said, well, I didn't really start out with like the greatest of equipment and, just a cell phone and whatever the case may be, but obviously there's been a progression. So maybe you could talk to us about how you, Johnder and I, we get this objection sometimes, oh, I'm not comfortable. I don't like the way I sound. I don't like the way I look. So how did you overcome that? Because it's obviously not natural for everybody. So could you share with us a little bit about that insight?
So actually, when I started making videos actually in 2011, and I bought this it was like a mini little camera this size, and I had this like shoulder arm, so you would hold it like a gun, and you were like walking, and I was like, you know what, this does not look really good. You're walking in the city and you're walking in a condo like this, right? But I just started with that. So it was just a small little video. I would just take a video, and I wouldn't talk much. So it was just like a tour, and that was it. Then I said, well, how am I gonna, get my message across, right? So then I started talking into those videos. Then I realized that really I need to showcase the property more. So I started getting involved. I started to learn how to use a green screen. So that was my first game changer, was to use a green screen. And I bought my first DSLR camera. It was a Nikon. And then I realized that Nikon is not the greatest camera for video because their autofocus sensor is not that great. So I changed my gear to a Canon. And then I just progressed, right? And then as I started making more videos, I started kind of enjoying making a video. So I started investing into better software and more plugins and stuff like that. And I have no training in making videos. So I'm all self-learned.
Completely self-taught right from the beginning. It's not like you were a photographer or like you were doing, corporate videos or any of that sort of thing. Just picked up a camera one day and so this is an important point for all of us listening to this, is that a lot of us have that sort of barrier that, hey, if it's been going on for years, that video has been the thing or the next big thing or the thing, or it is, video, if anything, because it conveys your personality, so you can tell, you can see Samir's video, and his personality gets conveyed to his potential clients. But many of us have that sort of hindrance or thinking, here's Samir with all this fancy equipment. He must have been doing this for a while, but literally you just started with one camera, and a lot of us have our phone cameras and we can just jump in and get started. Nothing fancy, right?
Yeah. And today, there's
So Samir.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, please.
Are amazing, right? Like cell phone cameras, they're incredible. Like whether you have a Samsung or an iPhone, the cameras are great.
Yeah.
So in this trying time where inventory is tough, right? And it's funny because, when we do this show, guys, we always have a pre-show that Johnder and I, we do a little bit of a dry run just to get a little bit of a feel and so forth. And I said to Samir, over the last 10 months or, 10 months or a year, I've gotten to know him just because of the algorithms of how the social sites pick up certain things that he's been posting. And obviously I've been looking online somewhere at certain interests. And I kind of said to him, I said, well, this is what I've gotten to know about you, and we've only ever talked on the phone maybe twice historically. So, I think that, and maybe Samir, you could share with us, what's the purpose behind your videos? Because I know that there's a lot of messaging in there. There's a lot of personal now that you've shifted. It's not just about a property. So maybe you can share with everybody how, and I see Lisa shaking her head there, which is great, because I know that this is going to resonate with a lot of people as to, what's the feedback that you're getting from the videos you're doing of what's working and getting engagement. And then how has that impacted you with people reaching out to you afterwards? Because I know a lot of it is personal. So please share with us, if you don't mind, how that's worked for you.
So when I started, I was very formal, right? I would put on a suit and tie and, right? I mean, I like dressing up. I like this always, but I was very formal. You were stiff because you feel like, oh, I'm talking to all these investors. There are all these doctors and lawyers and accountants and bankers and all that. I have to look like them for them to take me seriously. Later on, as I got some success, I realized that that wasn't the case. So once I stopped taking myself too seriously, the quality of my videos improved. So I would just say, listen, my guy bought this, that's why he bought it. I wasn't an English major in university. My major was biochem and psych. So I'm not the most eloquent person out there, right? So I would just speak the way I would speak to my clients regularly. So when I started having a conversation with just myself, as if I'm just talking to myself, oh, Samir, what did you do yesterday? Well, I sold this condom, blah, blah, blah. I think my engagement got better with my clients.
So just be you, just be casual, and exactly is what Dan said. And it's in the title for the show is going to be "Stop Taking Yourself Too Seriously," right? And I think that's another barrier. So the two barriers we've identified so far from many realtors not having success in video. Number one is not thinking that you could just jump in and start shooting video on a camera phone. And number two, thinking that you've got to have this persona. Because think about it this way, and I've heard this a lot being said. The way you are in real life is the way you're going to look on video. You're not going to look, or you shouldn't expect yourself to look any differently. So, mark my words, when you see him speaking like this and when you see him on video, that's how he is in real life. He's not any differently. And that's the same for all of us, right, Samir? So it's very interesting that you bring this up, that you bring that up.
You just look a little bit heavier.
As per Lisa's, you look a little heavier. Lisa put something in the chat that you guys, I really appreciate that, and I agree with it 100%, is that consumers love the personal touch. Even if you're talking about community, even if you're talking about the new bench that was installed in the local park on behalf of whatever organization, this is what's resonating with people, guys. I promise you. Yes, saying that you sold this property for this amount of money or whatever the case may be, there's a place for that. But I believe from a traction perspective and from a humanity perspective, most consumers want to see, what are you doing for the community? How are you involved? Who are you as a human being, and so forth? And I find, and I'm just going to turn to that, Samir, because I know over the last little while and during our conversation, you basically said, you became humbled at one point, and 2018, and I think that this is the real important one, because regardless of where your successes are and what level your successes are at, right, we're all going to go through, and we used some profanity earlier in our pre-run, but I guess there's that one particular word. We're all going to go through beep at different stages in our life. So Samir, would you mind sharing with us some of the adversities that you had to face, even in recent years, and where you put your thinking cap on, and how you kind of forged through that, if you don't mind?
My pleasure. So beginning of my career, when I joined real estate, I was penniless. Like I literally had no money. You sort of, I think from my case, for my first few years, I was just sort of finding myself. Where am I going to go? I would sell a house in Mississauga, then I would sell a house somewhere else. So I had no focus. 2011 is when I started focusing, and I had no money. So again, this brings me back to video. Agents who are starting out or are looking to get great traction without spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing every month, video is great. What later on happened? So, I started getting some success. I was doing well, but 2018 is what sort of changed my life. That was actually my best year in business. I almost touched chairman, like 2 more condos, and I would have, done it, right? But I didn't. But 2018, first of all, my sister was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she's not married, and she had nobody in her life. So I had to take care of her. Simultaneously, my mom got very, very sick. We could not take care of her at home. So we had to move her to a nursing home. And so I'm East Indian, and in our culture, for your parents to go to a nursing home, like in my family, like I am like the worst son possible. Like, how dare you let your mother go to a nursing home? On top of that, my dad had 2 major back surgeries. And he's a big, strong guy. But to see your dad screaming at the top of his lungs because he can't handle that pain. So I was going through all this. While I'm going through all this, and I think that year, I think I did 4 or 5 deals while like typing an offer, accepting an offer while I had a family member in surgery and I'm waiting outside. My my dear ex-wife during that time was just playing the devil with me. Like, you know, how dare you? How dare you work so hard, and how dare you, you know, try to do what you do, and how dare all of you, everybody in your family is sick at the same time. Like, you have no time for me. And mind you, whatever free time I had, I devoted my time to her. So the only other thing I know other than real estate is ladies' shoes and purses. I'm a complete connoisseur. I know all the best designers. I go to any mall in the GTA, Yorkdale, Sherway. Everybody in every fancy store except Chanel knows me like on a personal basis, right? So the year ended, right? I did really, really well. My sister survived breast cancer. My dad got better after his 2 back surgeries. My mom didn't. My mom's health continued to deteriorate. But I said, you know what? What's the point? And you're making all this money. So my family side, everybody's like, well, you jackass, how dare your mother's in, you know, a nursing home. And my ex-wife was like, all you do is work, and you just take care of your family. You have no time for me. So I said, it's time for a change. You know, I'd worked really hard. So as I said, when I joined real estate, I was penniless, but I was fortunate enough to buy a nice house in Oakville and had 4 investment condos in Toronto. I just walked. I took 2 suitcases and I just walked. And that was very humbling for me, you know, to work so hard and in an honest way. Like I've never sold any of my clients a property which I thought if I had the money, I wouldn't buy myself. And then last year, when my mom got very, very sick, she passed on the 4th of April. And what changed me again was that the day of my mom's funeral, I could not buy her even flowers because everything was closed. And there was only 5 people at my mother's funeral. And, you know, that humbles you actually. You know, you think, you know, Mr. Platinum Club, Hall of Fame, blah, blah, blah. You know, you got 5 properties. It's those moments in life that will humble you, that will change you. And it's almost as if, you know, I had to start my business from scratch in a way, like as if a part of me just sort of died. And there was no better way for me. So I had a tough year last year, but again, the way I picked myself up was through video. So I took video, and rather than talking about business, I started talking about my personal life. So when my mom passed away, the first thing I did was I sent a video to all my clients. And I said, you know, it was like around 4:30 in the morning. So I used to use a service called BombBomb, great service, a great service to use. And I said, guys, you know, I'm sorry to inform you, but my mom has passed away and I won't be available for the next 3-4 days. Because everything was upside down in the Toronto condo market at that time. And I got a lot of, you know, people really appreciated that. But, you know, here's this guy who's actually committed to us as our realtor. You know, I mean, I informed my family in England, then I informed my family in India, and then I informed my clients that my mom's passed. So video has that power. I'm not saying, you know, like if you have a tragedy in your life, use video, but I'm just saying that video is one thing where if you're genuine and you just be yourself, you know, consumers are so smart now, right? they can see right through you. And I think that part where I stopped trying to be like a perfect guy in front of a camera and tried to be more myself really helped my business. So yeah, I don't know if that helps.
I mean, that was very.
We're all a little bit quiet, and you know, obviously very sorry for the loss of your mom. We know that you know, that's difficult, and it's a difficult journey. You know, seeing you on Supercharged this morning. So for those of you that have been going on to the program, Remax Hallmark arranged with Susan Peltikian, who runs a program called Supercharged with Suzanne, and Supercharged with Susan, my apologies, which is basically her primary focus is on mindset. You know, she could pretty much, I think, and Samir, you could attest to this, she could probably coach in any type of environment, any type of business, because her messaging is not directly at specifically about real estate. And I just saw Hamid's message there. Our condolences as well, Hamid. It's not an easy journey, but it's part of life, and hopefully, you know, they're at peace and so forth. So, you know, with this Supercharged thing, I saw Samir on there, and I know that he's been dedicated to participating. He actually, you know, he speaks up at this event. So I think for many of you, what I get from him, and I appreciate you being here, Samir, and I appreciate you sharing your story online, because you know, just me watching it, I've gotten to know you just from a distance, and really have appreciated this, you know, this kind, soulful, even temperamented individual. And then seeing you on Supercharge, you know, I've seen a different layer, another layer of your vulnerability and so forth. But I think the big message is nobody's got superpowers, right? And we all need to reach out, and we all need to get ourselves engaged and involved in opportunities. And, you know, kudos to you, Samir, for, you know what, it's okay. Things happen, right? And things are gonna, we talked about it this morning, things are gonna continue to happen, right? We're gonna have more adversity, we're gonna have more challenges, but it's about this. There is a question on here, Samir, if you don't mind, I'm gonna pop it out to you. You mentioned that you use BombBomb from Lisa. Do you mind me asking what you use now to send video emails to your clients?
Great question.
Different format or different?
Great question. So one thing I also want to share with all of you is the mistakes I have made using video. BombBomb is a great service. It's a great service because you know, there's sometimes you want to send videos just to one person, so you can't put that on YouTube, right? Although, depending on what kind of software you have. So for my videos, to edit my videos, I use an Apple software called Final Cut. And with that, there's another app called Compressor, where you can actually compress a video that you can text it. Like you can shrink it down to like 20 megs, which is nothing. It's less than a picture. So BombBomb is great. One thing that I would advise all agents who want to use video is to use YouTube and think long-term. Just think of the bigger picture. And that's the beauty of video. If you make a video, you can use it on so many different platforms. You can throw it on YouTube, you can throw it on Facebook. Instagram, you got to make some adjustments, which is not hard at all. Instagram, you can use BombBomb to send it to a target audience you have. But yeah, I would use BombBomb, but I would just use my phone. You know, that's because it's quick. It's like, it's so fast. You know, so just, yeah.
And it's, I mean, you know, it's with Samir, it's like we learned so much. You know, we've gone through a bit of, you know, we felt the emotion there as well. And one thing we have to distinguish within our industry is there's the strategies and the tactics that we employ every single day. So, I mean, we can ask about, you know, what are the technicalities of this, or what are the strategies, or what are the how-tos. But as Samir just illustrated, there's a human element to what we do. And the beautiful thing about the video is that you touch on two things. You touch on the technical aspects of it, so we can get lost in the technical details, let's face it. But the one thing I think Samir has illustrated today is that, let's say you didn't know any of this stuff, right? Just putting yourself out there, the human element of it, just the emotion, the rawness of it, and just sharing yourself and expressing yourself, really that's the heart of it. And if there's one tactic or secret in video, it's just being yourself, right? And not taking yourself seriously. I mean, what I was amazed at with Samir telling his journey and his difficulty was that he's, you're just able to throw in a little bit of humor in there and sort of lighten everybody up, because let's face it, our work isn't easy. There's the offers you're typing up in the waiting room, and you're anxious about what's going on to a family member. At the same time, you're anxious about what's going to happen to your client, and both of them are life and death situations, let's face it, right? I mean, of course, one is more morbid than the other, but like what we get out of that is Samir's sheer passion for this. So, I mean, Samir, it's very inspirational to see you do this. So let's ask you, what does a day in Samir's life look like? What do you do? Like, are you on videos all day? Like, are you shooting all day and then you do showings? Like, what is it that you do from morning to evening?
So it's almost, I'm going to share with people more what you should not be doing than what you should be doing. So my typical day is basically, I'm generally a buyer's agent. I generally have a lot of investors on the go. Not a lot, like obviously not enough because I'm not chairman yet. But basically I would start with, starting to look for properties that are available. I've just started online marketing. That's another change that I've done to my business this year. And I want to use video in that too. Here's where I've gone wrong. So my average for video is this. Every time I make a video, I do a deal. Okay. So if I did 52 videos a year, I would do 52 videos. I know that for a fact. There's certain agents in and there's one guy I can see him, who are actually getting this, which is, if the strategy we all should use, we all have content, right? There's nobody on here who does not know what to say about real estate. And generally, if you're an agent, we're not quiet people. We're all pretty talkative, right? Like, we like to talk and we want to get our message across. What I would suggest to everyone is find somebody, if you think that, you know what, I don't want to buy this lights and this cameras and all this jazz, you can actually find people who will edit your video. Okay. So you can find these people on Indeed. You can find them overseas. Shoot a video and tell the guy, listen, I want you to edit this for me. And there's a buddy of mine who's doing this out in Durham region, Mahip Man. You should see the strategy this guy is using. He's got an editor doing his videos, and they look amazing. Like, they are production quality. I think Mahip has a better video strategy than I do at the moment, because he's getting his content out and he's putting humor into it. He's bringing his personality into it. He had this really cool video where he had sold a property like way over asking, and he's got this like shiny gun, and he's like pointing the gun at the for sale sign, and there's like dollars coming out of it. Like, that is great. Like, me personally, I would love to see that. And you can, target your content according to your targeted demographic of people that you're trying to get to. Like, that's something I could not do, sort of when I'm trying to target to all doctors and lawyers and bankers and all that. But I think the best thing would be is to, just do more of it rather than trying to do it perfectly. Try to perfect it. Just do more content.
That's right. And as we were saying earlier, we all have a lot to talk about, right? One of the things you said in our pre-interview was, no realtor out there doesn't have anything to talk about. We love to talk. In fact, some of us talk so much that there'd be a lot of. Well, I'm not pointing my fingers at you. No, there'd be so much endless content. But when we look at a camera, we kind of like deer in headlights, like, what am I going to say? But, off camera, you guys can talk about real estate all day long because that's what we do. I mean, that's our livelihood, right? So
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
Well, there's also an opportunity for you guys, as a company. We try to provide you with so much stuff on the back end with our regional reports, local reports, market updates, stuff that you get from your boards, right? It's just, it's not you talking about you and how great you are or whatever the case may be. It's just being of service, right? And that's one of the messages this morning, Samir, that we get from Suzanne is, it's be of service to people and so forth and provide them with something of value. It's not going to happen overnight. I just posted your YouTube channel there and I looked at it, in 9 years, you've had, I think it's 60,000 views or something like that. And there's probably more because I don't think it tabulates properly. I mean, that's a lot of people that have looked at your channels, right? And these are all independent people because it's based on, I guess, your coding in your computers or your cell phones or whatever. But you've continued to do it and you're getting traction and you're adapting, which is really cool too. You recognize what's working today may not work tomorrow, and you have to shift that and have to adjust. So one of our last questions that we usually ask is what would your advice be to all the people that are on this call? Johnder, you're good with that?
Absolutely.
My number one advice would be is to, first of all, look at the bigger picture. Try to make evergreen content, right? Although we all make property specific content, try to make evergreen content. Second of all, put everything on YouTube. The biggest mistake I have made in my career with video is that up to 2020, I hardly ever put anything on YouTube. So I had a group of about 200 investors. I only targeted those people. That was it. That's all I did. Make videos, send it to those 200 people, get referrals, do business. Write them birthday cards, property anniversary cards. That was it. So whatever you make, put it on YouTube. Build a following and just think of it long term. And actually, if you can follow some people, some vloggers. So the guy that I really like to follow is a Torontonian named Peter McKinnon. And this guy's genius. And if you look at his evolution, I mean, this guy's a professional video guy. Like his equipment must be like, I don't know, at least 20, 30,000, maybe more. But if you look at his first video 5 years ago and now, wow, what a progression. When he started, he didn't have anything fancy, but he's regular. Every week he's got a video. And if you see what he's doing now, he's becoming more and more real. So I went away from like using a green screen. I show my studio. I would be sitting on my couch talking, right? Because I'm not important. What's important is the message that I have to give about real estate to my clients and the people out there. So that would be my advice. Don't try to perfect this. And whatever you do, put it on YouTube. If people talk crap about you, not a big deal. It's like, what's worse than getting rejected on a multiple offer?
There you go. Well,
on YouTube, years.
Well, in this market, you got to do it multiple times. And I know some of our agents who have been through, 50, 70, 100 plus offers, and they're still going at it. And, one of our agents recently won in that 100 offer. And Samir's not a stranger to that because he works with a lot of these clients, right? So Samir's advice, basically, just jump right into it. If I heard it correctly, just jump right into it. Like, what are you waiting for? And you're going to hear this every year. Oh, do video, do this, do that, start doing this, like start prospecting. This is just jump. Don't overthink it. And number two, about the video thing, it's about, making things evergreen. So yes, a lot of you guys create content. You send it to your clients one by one. I think the best way to illustrate this, if I may, Samir, is that Samir has 200 or so clients. You all have, your set of clients. Think of a client as an avatar. and then speak to that avatar, or speak to that person, that persona. Now that persona exists 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 10,000 times out there. And that's what channels such as YouTube, social media is a way for you to reach out to that persona. So instead of you speaking one-on-one, you're now speaking to everybody who matches that persona and will listen to your message. And that's, I think that's what Samir has done brilliantly. And you know what? Let's push it. This is on record. Let's push 2021 as the year of the Chairman Award. Okay, Samir?
Yes, for sure.
Fantastic. Let's help Samir out. So Samir, you've now, well, you were from Oakville, moved down to Toronto, moved back to Oakville. So how do we, listening to this, watching this on the replay, watching this on Facebook Live, watching this on YouTube, how can we send business your way so that we can help you get to the Chairman Club? If we have any West Enders, Oakville, I don't know, do you go as far as Hamilton, Burlington, or Milton? Like how far west do you go?
So I've been an Oakville resident since 2011. The reason I moved to Toronto for a couple of years was because of what I've been through in my personal life. And then, you know, being one thing I learned about living in Toronto is that if you're 48 and single, that ain't a place for you. So at least in my opinion, I think I was the oldest guy in my building. It was a great building to live in. So I do sell in Oakville. That's where my base is. And I do sell in Burlington and a little bit in Milton as well. So yeah, I mean, you know, if you're out in Ottawa or if you're out in Barrie or if you're in the Durham region, yeah, I would love to be of service to your clients here in the Halton region. And
there you go. So Samir, Dan has posted the contact information on there. So for those of you who are watching this or listening in on this, we'll put it into the comments as well. But for those of you watching the video, in case you don't see this, what's your phone number, what's your email address, and what is your website, Samir?
My phone number is 416-727-2647. My website is oakvillehomesource.com. And my email is samir@samirkumar.ca.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for Samir before we let him go back to his busy day of real estating? Anybody?
Don't be shy, guys.
Don't be shy. We are here. We are live. Anybody on our Facebook groups? Let me load up the Facebook groups.
So I have a question. Isaac from Ottawa.
Hey, Isaac.
Hey, so Samir, you talked about the videos. So the demographic that you're targeting, does it change your videos or it's the same for everybody? Because like, let's say we see a lot of agents now on TikTok and their demographics are the younger crowd, right? So do you have any advice for that?
So my demographic actually hasn't changed. However, I was trying to use, and I'm still thinking of using a very different strategy for video in Halton region, okay? So my online leads that I have in Oakville, and I'm gonna be very, very transparent with all of you. When I see the leads coming in, all the people are either Middle Eastern or South Asian, okay? So what I was thinking of actually doing was, how about if I made a video that was targeted to South Asian buyers who are new into the country? Because I in my career, I must have done about 11, 12 deals where somebody was new to the country, living in a condo in Toronto, and moved to Oakville because of the go. And those videos were slightly different. When it comes to investors, I feel I'm more serious, and it's, you know, you got to share the numbers with them. They crave the numbers. Me being a brown guy, I'm pretty natural with numbers as it is. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if that TikTok, I haven't taken to TikTok yet, but I know some younger agents have. I think again, it depends on the demographic. If you're targeting new, like young buyers or first-time buyers, yeah, my demographic is slightly older, which is they are way more on Facebook, actually, I feel, and by referral.
Sweet. Okay, so to make it short, against Isaac, what is the like duration of a video which won't get the audience to get bored, or you know what I mean, saying, okay, you know what, he's the first 30 seconds and I'm bored, I'm going to turn it off, I'm going to go to the next video.
Great question, Isaac. And here's the thing. Think of it like if you had a run, like a flyer run, okay? So let's say you're sending 2,000 flyers. You might get one guy to give traction to that flyer for you on that run. I look at a video like that too. So I used to try to keep my videos, and I still do, to about 4 minutes. And a rule of video is that your screen, like, so your frame should change every 3-4 seconds. So if you're just sitting and just talking about you, well, I think they're going nowhere, that's not going to work. So you need what we call in video some B-roll. So I use a lot of stock footage of Toronto, or I would use some funny footage. So for example, like if I had a woman, like if I had like a image of somebody losing a multiple offer. So I'll have a stock video of a woman just like, you know, losing her, like her top, right? Like top of her head. So because that makes it funny, right? That makes it funny. But the thing is, as I said, every time I did a video, I did a deal. So I didn't care how many guys saw that video, how long they saw it. All I was trying to do was activating one buyer out of that video, and that always worked.
That makes sense. I think Dan's just trying to get himself together.
Does that make sense?
And the humor of Samir.
Actually, what's really great is, like, I just picked something up from you, so I really appreciate that about the B-roll, and taking away from let's call it the boredom, not the boredom, but the stagnant of the video. So that's brilliant. I would never, like, that just never resonated with me, but I think just moving away from yourself for a few seconds and then back into you, it'll create some great content. So just for all of you, Samir Kumar doesn't know this, guys, but we're going to be doing a training session on YouTube videos, and Samir's going to be the host in the next month. Look for it on the training calendar. Anyhow, it is great. You know what, guys? Listen, you show up to these interviews, right? And it's really just about really getting to know somebody that's probably dealing with, or have dealt with certain circumstances, certain challenges, whether it's getting going, whether it's being up here and all of a sudden something's dragged you back down, and it's how do you, what are the tools, what are the resources, how do you get out of your own head, how do you get out of your own way so you could just, move yourselves forward. We all have a certain personality type, but I think that the DNA that's built into people like ourselves, because we know what we're getting into, right? It's a lot of work, it's a lot of phone calls, it's a lot of aggravation, there's a lot of great reward at the end of the day, right? And there's a great lifestyle that comes with it, and there's great opportunity, and you can build your future to whatever you want it to be. Yes, you might get shot back, and I really appreciate Samir sharing with us how he tuned things out or made this collective decision regardless of what came into his path to basically turn it around. And I think it's brilliant that you've started off with a certain camera and recognized that this didn't work and wasn't your best scenario. And a few minutes ago you said, I'm starting to rethink my videos as to where I should be putting them. And all of this, guys, most of it, my understanding, Samir, is most of it's free, right? Other than your investment into your softwares and maybe having somebody stitching it all together at the end of the day. But and I think that's the brilliant part. I think about back in the day, bus benches and postcard, like all of these certain things. And this is, I'm not saying that those things aren't good to use. I think they're important, but I think that this is an evolution on how you could add to those things in an inexpensive manner and really expand your audience and your potential prospects. So any other questions? Oh, somebody's telling me my mic is not good. Is that so?
That's okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. So Samir, again, thank you so much for the wisdom that you imparted on us and your sense of humor. We appreciate it. And you're truly an inspiration. You're very knowledgeable, and we look forward to those classes. And we've been talking about that for some time now. But let's get that on the calendar this year. And we wish you the very best. And we hope you achieve that, Chairman, in 2021 year. So fantastic. We wish you the very best. So feel free to connect with Samir if you have any questions. You have his contact information there, and you know where to find him. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see you again soon. Samir, wishing you the very best of luck in your endeavors. And we're here for you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us on
Thank you,
the
Samir.
Real Estate
Thank
Show.
you, everyone.
So much. Take care.
Bye.